Welcome to the Blue Collar Barbarians podcast, brought to you by the Blue Collar Barbarians Network, your new source for all things savagery. Tonight, we got a hammer of a guest, literally a hammer, or a spud wrench, depending on how you want to look at it. My buddy Drew Jacobs, one of my brothers, an iron worker. As you guys know, I'm an operator, crane operator, and being a crane operator, you're probably your favorite people to work with, and the most prestigious kind of work, America's work, let's just say, is hanging iron. Drew Jacobs, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, man. I really appreciate your time, and I've been looking forward to this interview, dude, like I have.
Yeah, man, same with me. I've been looking forward ever since we connected on social media, and ever since you asked me to have me on, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Just had to free up some time in my schedule, and I'm glad we can get this happening for us.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be wild. And there's gonna be so much value to this show just because you've been through the gamut, right? So,
Oh yeah.
full transparency, I want people to understand like iron work is tough work. When we're talking about barbarians on this show, this is your literally cookie cutter gentleman right here. Like these are the guys that are rough and tough. They're yelling, they're throwing bolts, there's hammers, there's sparks, there's clinging, there's banging, there's overhead shit going on. I mean, all day long, guys, it's a grind. For the iron workers who listen to this show, you guys know, I know your blood, you're getting little goosebumps right now. Calm down, boys. But for those that don't know, like this is one of the most prestigious trades that you could get into. And it's also one of the roughest trades you can get into. And Drew, what brought you to my attention, man, is your way to share what you guys do. Drew has a really cool and a really big social media platform that he's built very well, where he tailors all sorts of cool reels and different things, where he takes snapshots of what they're doing day to day. And we'll get into that later. But that's what really got is he's a great representation of the community and just showing the variety and the amount of different cranes, the different kinds, the different things that you do at work, the day in the life of like what it takes to build America and to have a backbone. And dude, I just got a tremendous amount of respect for you and your platform. So again, dude, thank you. But let's dive in. I want to know about Drew. Tell us about Drew Jacobs.
All right. Well, I'm a third generation Mohawk ironworker. Basically grown up in the trade of ironwork. My grandfather was ironworker. All my uncles, not my dad. My dad wasn't an iron worker, but all my uncles, every one of my uncles was iron worker. Either New York City has been our family's bloodline for ironworking, and we've had a couple of my uncles travel out to Boston during Boston's Big Dig back in the late '90s, early 2000s, I believe, when the Big Dig happened. I mean, my grandfather worked on. I mean, he's worked on. I know he worked on the Empire State Building towards the end, and that's kind of when he got into ironworking at a very young age. I think my grandmother said he was 15 when he went to the city with somebody. And then after that, I mean, I've had my uncles have worked on the new trade center. Um, I mean, we worked on Hudson Yards, the big project there. That was kind of more for me. It was better because I got to work with all majority of my uncles that are left in the business, and I got to work beside them, and they kind of really I don't know how to cook, like make it sound nice or anything, but they kicked my ass into shape to basically carry on their name. And I pretty much left New York. It got slow during the pandemic, and I found my way out into Boston, where I've been making my own name, but still carrying on their name because during the during when they were doing the trade centers, there was all kinds of TV shows about it. So my uncles were on those shows a lot. So a lot of people throughout the US, Canada, probably all over the world know who my uncles are and who my family is from ironwork. And so I kind of, in my mind, not in my mind, but I guess I have big shoes to fill when people look at them because they're highly respected in the business. And I know, like, through the social media part of what I do, part of me kind of feels bad for bringing more attention to me when it should be to them. But at the same time, I'm not in the city anymore, so I'm kind of just doing my own thing and trying to build my name for myself by also still trying to carry on the family name in the business.
Right. And that's incredible, man. Talk about a lineage, right? Like third generation ironworker, New York City ironworkers of all places.
Yeah.
And you got to come up with the men that built the foundation of this country, essentially, right? Like some of the bloodlines of it. And how cool is that about your grandpa working on the Empire State Building? So like those pictures you see with the dudes hanging out on the iron, eating lunch and stuff, like your bloodline lived that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's
And
incredible.
I know he was young, and yeah, I know he was young, and then he didn't have quite a long career as an ironworker. Unfortunately, he had gotten hurt. I can't remember when he gotten hurt, and I should know that. I should have known that, but I know he had gotten hurt quite young, and it kind of threw him out of the business. But at the time, I know my uncles were old enough to, after he got hurt, we're like, well, we're going to go into the business and we're going to carry on the family name. So I think he ended up falling. He fell a story and he screwed up his back pretty good. And then, so he was out on comp, or whatever it was back then, some sort of disability they gave them or something like that.
Yeah, that's a fall though, a story. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, you fall 6 feet and
Yeah,
it doesn't feel good.
I know, but I'm just thinking, good Lord, dude. We just watched, unfortunately, fortunately the kid's okay, but we had a kid fall 40 feet at a job site
Oh, damn.
a couple months ago. A carpenter, his column hooked in a set or something, and the column fell over with him on it, and he went off the side of the building all the way to the ground from like the third floor or something. It was bad news bears, but
That's
he
not pretty.
survived. Yeah, he survived.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So all you know is ironwork, essentially, right? Like, I mean, that's
Unfortunately, and if you want to put it that way, yeah.
no, not a bad way though. Like that's what you know is that barbaric, go get it, clanging and banging.
Yeah.
Like that's what,
Yeah.
professionally speaking, that's what you know.
You know, I remember as a kid being in our basement at my grandmother's house, and my uncle's giving me a belt and being like, "You're gonna have to try to carry this someday." And I remember I was 6, maybe 7. I couldn't carry. I couldn't even lift it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, it was a full belt. It had a beater in it. There was an 8-pound beater at the time, and I mean, I tried putting it on, and I was like, "No, I don't want nothing to do with." You know, you're a kid. You're like, "Yeah, this is heavy. I don't want nothing to do with this."
Yeah.
But eventually, you know, as we'll get to it in the conversation, what led me to actually deciding to step up to the plate and follow the family and carry on the family's name in the business, because I'm the only one out of all the grandkids. I come from a pretty big family. I'm the only one that's ironworking out of all the grandkids.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So you're the last of them.
Yeah.
For now.
Yep.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
That's
For
wild.
now.
So what's
Yeah.
coming up? What's coming up in the trades? Like, imagine you went as an apprentice, right? You did it the right way, I'm sure, with your uncles, or did you kind of just get to come on?
No, I had to do it. When I got in, they basically were like, if this is what you want to do, you're gonna have to do it on your own. We're not gonna help you. Because at the time I was going through my addiction. I was in the process of cleaning up my life. I was in and out of jail. So I asked them, I was like, hey, at the time in my life, I was like, got a criminal record. I did graduate high school. I had a high school degree, but at the same time, I was like, I don't want to go to college. So they're like, well, if you want to become an iron worker, go prove it to us. So I had to go get the application, fill it out. Obviously, their name helped me when I told them, and they seen, oh, Jacobs. Hey, do you know Pete Jacobs, Paul Jacobs? Those are my uncles. I was like, yeah, those are my uncles. Obviously, that helped me, but they didn't. They could have called the union hall and be like, hey, our nephew wants to become an iron worker, and they could have helped me get in a little bit easier. So I basically had to show them, like, if you really want this life, go do it.
Yeah.
Show us you want it.
Yeah. You got to earn it.
I had to go through, but once I got through all that and I got into the apprenticeship program, they pulled me right away. Like the hall was like, okay, your uncle's got this job. He's pushing this job. He's the foreman. You're going to work for him. You're going to go be his apprentice. And I basically just got thrown right into it. Like, they didn't really teach me, my uncles. They were just like, show us. Basically, my whole life was show us you can do this.
That's what's barbarian.
I got screamed at a lot.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's what makes you a barbarian, though, dude. Like, there's not always going to be somebody to show you how to do something, or a one size fits all, right? Like it's legitimately, like, sometimes to get somewhere in life, like, you got to just want it, and it's pure determination and the ability to get knocked down and get back on your feet every fucking day, like every fucking day. And sometimes that's even minute to minute, right? Like,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so what was that? There was like, times your apprentice for your uncle. Like, talk us through that. Because I know iron workers, right? So like, I
got screamed at a lot because he came from that. So my uncle Peter, he came from that older generation of iron worker where he was, you know, the old school guys. So he got in at 17 when he became an iron worker. So I basically got broken in the way he got broken in. Screamed at.
Bolts
thrown at me. And it's funny you should say that, because I remember we were on this job and I went down to the crane at lunch with two of our connectors and I fell asleep on the mat for the crane. And all of a sudden I hear bing, bing. And then I wake up. He was literally 4 stories up throwing bolts, trying to wake me up and screaming at me to, like, get your ass up on the floor and get your ass to work. And then that was a big wake up call, because I ran up, I got up there and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. He's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, you need to wake yourself up. And I'm like, hey, everybody else was down there. He's like, I don't care who was down there. You need to wake yourself up. And that was like a big wake up call just in life. Like, it's this is on you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm your uncle, but from 7 in the morning till 3 or 5, if we were working 8-10-hour days, I'm not your uncle. That's what he told me. The first day I ever got onto a job site with him, it was loving uncle, the ride in. As soon as we walked through that gate, he was like, I'm not your uncle anymore. And that hit me, because I'm like, what do you mean you're not my uncle? He's like, now I'm your boss. Now you're going to do what the hell I say, and you're going to do it the way I want it, like way it has to be done. I didn't know how it should have been done. Mind you, I grew up in an iron worker family.
Yeah.
They basically taught me what not to do.
Yeah.
They didn't teach me what to do. They just said, don't do this.
So then what did you start out as? Like, when you're an apprentice, what did you start out doing?
So I was fortunate enough that when I got in, I started out as the tagline man, because in New York City, the raisin gangs are broken down with, you got your foreman, you got your 2 connectors, you got a hook-on man, you got a phone man, and then the tagline guy is usually the youngest guy in the gang or the apprentice. So they usually reserve, most of the time, the tagline guy as the apprentice, because that's, you're going to learn.
Yeah.
You're going to learn every part of the raisin gang through that part of just being the tagline guy, which is basically just putting taglines on each piece. So it goes up, you're helping clear the iron through the steel, and you're getting the connectors, bolts, and, if they need a beater, if they need pins, whatever they're setting, you're pretty much just like, you're a ground guy, but you're still doing apprentice tasks, but you're also doing journeyman tasks as you're learning what to do. So when you get to a journeyman, you're going to be a good raisin gang hand.
So you got to avoid doing all the, like, pan decking.
Yeah.
And fucking.
I didn't. Yeah. I was fortunate. I was very fortunate. I only got to do raisin gang through my pretty much whole career. I mean, I've thrown deck, I've bolted up, I've done miscellaneous over the years, but I've been very fortunate that I've been known to be a raisin gang guy, which is what my grandfather was, which my uncles are all raisin gang. The couple that passed, I had one pass when I was younger. He was a welder, and I had another one who passed in 2007. And he was more of like a detail kind of guy. But
Yeah.
for the rest of the family, they were all raisin gang. Those were the only two, I guess, outliers in the family who didn't go into the raisin gang.
So I mean, let's be real, dude. Like that's
Mm.
the creme de la creme in the iron world. Like
Mm.
that's the exciting shit. Those are the hot
Mm.
shots on the job site. They're the ones that take the crane and don't give it back. They're the
Right.
it's their job site when the raisin gang shows up. Essentially, like that's how it
Yeah.
goes.
They own the job. They run the job. They make they delegate how the speed of the job. If the job's going fast, slow. I mean, you've worked with. I'm sure you've worked with plenty of iron workers throughout your time.
Oh yeah, like that. Again, that's my favorite thing. Production is my favorite thing. So I like going for piece counts. That's not so much a thing anymore like it used to be.
Yeah.
Especially 2020. Like there was times where you'd be missing iron out of sequence. You get shit like fifth sequence or something, and be waiting on trucks like 10 days and some dumb shit like that to have the first or the second sequence. So we'd shake it out and then
Yeah. Yeah.
pile it all back up into a pile and fly it out. I was running a 550 at the time, a Libera,
Right. Yeah.
and like that was kind of cool. I was doing 25,000 pound trees. People don't get to see that very
Right.
much unless you're running like a Luffner.
No, you
or
don't see
something.
that
But
very often.
yeah. So it was big iron, but it sucked like weight or like I don't know, dude. Like nowadays 60-piece day is a big day. I mean, maybe not for where you
Yeah.
guys are, but that's a big day now. Like, but there would be the old
Yeah.
days you'd hear about where people be, you're shooting for 100 to go home, and it's like,
Yeah.
and it's like,
And you're also dead during those 100 days.
you are, but it's like from my point, there'd be times where we'll be at like 25 pieces at noon, and I'm just like, come on, like, because we get into
Yeah.
it too, dude. That's a
Yeah.
team thing. Like you got a good phone, man, and you got the right kind of connectors, dude. That's some of the most exciting shit in the world. I fucking love swinging a tree of iron in, coming in hot. I'm fucking swinging left, trawling out, lining down, dropping it, getting it. I got it in the guy's hands, coming down a little bit easier now. This guy's fishing, he's throwing in a bolt. This guy's sliding it down, he's got a bolt. We're coming down just a little bit. They hot bolt it really quick, and then they're coming down with the next piece. Guys running across the iron over here, getting a bolt tossed up to him. Or like it's as weird as it sounds. Like there's something about that work that's absolutely captivating, especially from the seat. Like,
Oh, it's
you're,
yeah.
And to be able to like bang iron off of iron to get it to spin how you want it to, bringing it into guys, like learning all the little tricks, swinging into your shit for you so it holds your bite for you for a minute while you're fucking with it. Like there's all sorts of shit.
It's an art. It's an art.
Yeah, dude.
It's absolutely an art.
It gets me all excited right now, even talk about it, just because.
Oh yeah.
Like that's like the pinnacle of what you do. Like concrete's cool, building buildings is cool, but it's cool to like it's all hands on deck. Boom, bang, banging shit around and columns, fucking, and some of them girder beam. Yeah, dude, ironwork is cool. Working with ironworkers is probably my favorite, but they'll let you know really quick if you're not sufficient, right? And I was fortunate.
Oh, absolutely. They'll weed you out.
And I was fortunate enough in my career to start out, and I just looked at that as kind of a pinnacle. If I could run with ironworkers, like in general, like on running a machine, even especially if it was something I had never run before, that was like a staple. They like, okay, cool, you're good with these guys, then you're good, right? And then you just get faster and you get better, and then 1 + 1 is 2, and the next thing you know, that's how I got good. Is I took my 10,000 reps, taking the most aggressive kind of work and working with like guys from Durr that travel and did different shit,
Yeah,
like
absolutely, yeah.
So, but I'll digress. I want to get back into you. So you got in the trades. You were a raisin gang guy right out of the gate. Your uncles, they made you work for it, and they taught you through like hard times, essentially, and the rough way, the right way. They taught you what not to do and what to do. And well, you learned what to do on your own. You taught yourself that, but they taught you what you don't do.
Yeah.
and then you get into that, and now you're making money. What's that like?
So that was pretty much when I first got in. I was living in Brooklyn, New York, with both my uncles in a one-bedroom apartment, and it was it got pretty real pretty quick because not only was I living with them, I was working with them. So I was with them 24 hours, 24 hours a day, and like you think you're done at the end of the day, and then you drive home, get on the train, whatever we did to get to work, and you get home, eat dinner, wash up, and then they're basically like, "You should have did this today. You should have did this today." Like it was just it got everyone after a while was like, once you know what to do, get the hell away from them. Don't ever work with family in this business.
Yeah.
So
No.
I basically learned. I learned through not only my uncles, but I mean other guys in the gang. I mean, I've had a few very good connecting partners in my life who looked out for me when I was green, and they taught me pretty much the same thing my uncles would teach me was, okay, where to put your bar, how to manipulate the iron, what size bolts to use, the length. So it was pretty much because when I first got into the business, I mean, yeah, I was on jobs as a kid because I'd go with my uncles when I was off school, like Christmas or not Christmas break, sorry, but like spring break, shit like that. I'd go down to the city and hang out in the city, and then on Fridays they would commute back up to upstate New York from the city because our family, like, we're not from New York City. We're from a reservation upstate New York on the Canadian border, and so that's a 6 hour commute. So they drive down Sunday night, stay, work Monday to Friday, jump in the car after work, shoot back up to the reservation where I grew up, where I was from. And so basically I would go down there, and then Friday be sitting in the car, or they would, if I was lucky enough, it was kind of like a small job, they'd take me on the job, and they'd put me at a bolt foreman, or they'd stick me in the shanty and be like, hey, just hang out here until we're going to cut loose at lunch, and we're going to get on the road. So I was on the job as a kid, but I never really, you can watch somebody do something until you actually do it. I mean, you can see somebody do something and make it look easy, but they've put that 10,000 hours in. And then when I got up on the iron finally, I knew how to climb. I knew how to walk. I knew the fundamentals of ironwork, and I didn't know how to bar a piece in. I didn't. The speed thing was don't even. That wasn't even there. And so basically, it was just my partners would always tell me when I was connecting. After I finally, earned my spot to go up in the air, they basically were like, just take it slow. Yeah, we need to get these pieces up, but make sure you go home and make sure I go home. Because when I got into the business, we had harnesses. I mean, I'm young. I'm only 34, but like during the time when I got into New York, you didn't have to tie off still. Like you could basically just have your harness on and walk wherever, and perimeter edge, leading edge or something. That's where they would make us tie off majority of the times. So walking around the iron, I was kind of used to it, getting around.
What
And
time frame was
then
that? Like 2014, 15?
that was, it's no, that was probably 12, about 12,
12?
2012,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
about 12. Yeah. So, because I got in when I was 21. Yeah, I got in when I was 21. I got into the union. And that was because I thought I had no other choice to actually do anything with my life, because I was coming off of being a drug addict and in and out of trouble with the cops and shit like that. But anyways, yeah, I just got in with them, and they made me really earn my key and earn my spot at the table,
Yeah.
the to be to become a part of the brotherhood with them. because the thing with, I mean, that with ironworkers, there's a brotherhood, but inside, like where I come from as well, because Native American, like, and the Mohawk ironworkers they've been known so well throughout the years as being good ironworkers. So for me, it was always like, okay, there's pressure to be an ironworker, but also now there's pressure to live up to not only the brotherhood of the Union, but now it's like, now you need to live up to our founding fathers as Mohawk ironworkers and the First Nations ironworkers that also helped, pave the way for the young guys like me to have a career in ironwork.
Yeah. And I'd say an incredible job you've done at that, dude. I think that I know we just met, but I think like just looking at your page, the way you present yourself, the things you've accomplished in your life, the way you present dealing with hard and holding yourself to a standard, like I think at the end of the day, you should hang your hat very proud that you represent your heritage and every bit of your family lineage very, very well, like very, very well. I want to back off of the ironwork for a second and dive into um, a little bit of your background that you said, like you came through hard, right? Like, and ironwork is hard, but life is hard. And at any point in time, you can come back from making mistakes. You can change the wheel. You can take control. When I say the wheel, excuse me, not change the wheel, but change the direction of the wheel that your
Well, I
life
know
is
what you mean,
turning.
brother.
Yeah, yeah. But when you say that, like, I think it's important when people listen to this. It's 2024 now, right? So when you listen to this, we're just getting started in the year. Maybe you've had some shit happen. Maybe you got, who knows? Maybe you got a DUI or you got arrested with this, or somebody, God forbid, somebody passed, or you're just going through it. And it's really important to me for our brothers and our sisters out there that are grinding to take a minute and talk to them about working through hard and about regaining control. Because for me, um, I'll be transparent with you. And what got me off the couch and into the trades was I'm a Marine Corps veteran myself. So I had some issues with PTSD, and mine wasn't in the sense of like, oh, I want to fight everybody or I'm having flashbacks or nothing like that. I would just lose interest in whatever I was doing at the snap of a finger. And I shared that a little bit, I think, on the Mark episode. Um,
Yep.
but outside of that, I remember what the turning point for me was. As I remember being so just down on myself and so sick of like the way life was, and that I had a bag of blow, and I was just like, I'm going to see how much of this I can do before my heart stops. And I wasn't suicidal.
Been there too, brother.
Yeah, I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't anything. I just was living without purpose, right? And for me, it was just let's see what happens. And thank God I never got to that point where my heart stopped or anything like that, where I had to be resuscitated or checked in, or probably should have, but I didn't, right? Like, but I still think back to that day because one, it was stupid. Statute limitations, motherfuckers, you're not going to get me. Sorry, but one, it was stupid. Two, I think back to like being so lost and so hurt and wishing like if I could give any advice to anybody, it's that it's never too late. It's never too late to say enough. Like this is enough. It's time to move forward. It's time to take progression steps. So I'll digress about me because this show is not about me. But you've been through something hard. Do you mind sharing that with us?
Oh, absolutely, brother. I mean, that's just the thing with the trades and in life as a man. I mean, we don't have it easy. I mean, that men don't have it easy, especially nowadays, especially in 2024.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have it easy at all. But yeah, so back to what I went through. So I came from a very small community, and I mean, I said it previous that Native American, so drugs was a big part of our reservation and upbringing. And that was kind of I got into drugs young. Like I was 14 when I started really getting into pills. Like for me, my drug of choice was OxyContin. I was a part of that whole like when everyone knows when Oxy blew up and it was all over Canada, all over the U.S. So that was really my drug of choice. I had gotten hurt in a snowmobile accident, and doctor gave me oxys. And after I got better, the doctor cut me off, and I was like, yeah, but I still like I'm hurting. And then they put me on perks because it was like lower, but after a while, I was like, oh, I need these. I need these. Like, this is, by then I was pretty much an addict.
Right.
And then that snowballed into coke. I mean, I smoked crack. I mean, I've done everything under the, everything but stick a needle. That was pretty much, I always felt if I stayed with the nose, I was good.
Yeah.
So I put myself, a lot of people I know are always like, I went through X, Y, and Z, or I smoked weed and then that leads to a gateway. I can say that's 100% BS. Like, you know, I broke my leg and pretty much became a drug addict after that. That's no lie.
Yeah.
Like, I never smoked weed up until that point. Like, I never did drugs. Like, my family, I came from blue collar, military. So, no one drank around the kids. No one did drugs. I was a very, hardworking family I came from, and drugs, alcohol, we were always told as kids, like, don't do that. Like, you're going to go to hell. They tried to scare us when we were kids. You're going to be a loser, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, I was afraid of it, but by the time it had caught me, the addiction from being hooked on pills, it was too late for me.
Yeah.
And I hid it for pretty much my whole teens of being a drug addict, and ultimately led me to getting into, distribution. And, because once the doctor cut me off of getting it, I went to the streets to find it.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I mean, not saying I'm from the 80s or, where it was easy, but like early 2000, like, the 2000s was still easy to get whatever you wanted from the drug, like from the streets. Now, like nowadays, of course, you got to be careful with fentanyl making its way around. And
it's a different landscape.
We've
now.
lost so many people. And I always say I'm thankful that I got to experience those before fentanyl, because if fentanyl was a thing, I'd be dead. I know I'd be dead, because whatever you put in front of me, I was taking it.
Yeah.
There was no question about it. And then, so I'm thankful in a way that I went through drug addiction before that time period of fentanyl and getting laced with all the stuff that's going around nowadays. I mean, you hear stories every day about someone getting a bad hit of whatever it is. And it's unfortunate. It really is. I mean, I wish more people would realize there's more to life than just chasing a high.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you have to hit a rock bottom. Like, you really have to hit a rock bottom. And my rock bottom was fucking turning 19 in jail.
Yeah.
Like, and I was fortunate. I mean, I always say I'm fortunate, because I really am fortunate. I look at everything I went through as a blessing.
It's a lesson.
100%. And yeah, it was a lesson. And the people I was surrounding myself with when I was younger were older guys, 20s, late 20s, early 30s, guys like that. And they were also into selling, partying, shit like that. So I ended up getting in trouble. I was running because where I come from, like, I grew up right on the border of Canada and the US. So bringing stuff across the border for me was like an easy way to make money. I could make money. Also, I could, provide for my drug habit.
Yeah.
So it was a win-win for me. And then finally it caught up with me. It catches up with everybody. And I got caught. I was smuggling cigarettes at the time through the border, like across the border through boats. I got caught by the RCMP. They arrested me, and it pretty much hit me that I was sitting in jail, and everybody I called for help was like, I don't know you. I don't know who you are. Like, I mean, everybody. I'm talking about the people that I thought were my friends who could bail me out, because I knew they had the money to bail me out. Simply were like, we're not answering my phone call. Like, like nobody.
Yeah.
I call my family. Yeah. And, I call my family, and I come, like I just said, like, I come from a very good, disciplined family. What are they going to say? Like, I'm calling and, hey, I need bail money. What did you do? I was doing something illegal. Oh, really? Well, sitting there, maybe think about it.
Yeah.
Like, it was tough love with me. So finally, I finally got clean enough in jail, which I had to get clean in jail. And then my mom had managed to talk the court and my lawyer into them releasing me to a treatment program. So I went through the hard withdrawal in a correctional facility, which is not the best, not the best place, but at the same time,
Holy
it's where I
cow.
had to be. You know, I had to be there. I mean, so I basically went through withdrawal, and then finally, when I was enough, um, after a year and a half, they released me out of jail. And at that point, I was already clean. But, you know, my mom had said, well, I found a program that will take him. So the court allowed for me to get released on house arrest in order that I got sent right to the treatment facility, got the help I needed, and then graduated. And if I graduated, then they would see what they would do after the graduation and all that. Luckily, it went through. Everything was smooth. I graduated, went to court, and for some reason, whoever decided to give me that judge that day, he decided to give me a chance. And he basically told me straight up, he's like, I'm going to give you one chance. If I ever see you come back into this courtroom for anything, I'm going to max out whatever it is. He said, I don't care if it's a parking ticket. I don't care if it's, you know, jaywalking. I'm going to max your fine. I'll max your sentence out. He's like, you're too young to be going down this road. And that's when I got out and I went into community college. And at the time I was thinking about becoming a drug and alcohol counselor.
Yeah.
And then I quickly realized that that's not the life for me. Like school
Nope.
and that life in and of itself. So I remember exactly where I was. So I was at my grandmother's house. I was we were in the garage. There was me and my two uncles. And we were doing something, but we were working on one of the boats, one of our fishing boats. And I remember clearly like being scared to death. The most scared I've ever been was to look them both in the eye and be like, I want to become an iron worker.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was scared because at that point, they knew what I went through. They knew I was a drug addict. Like in their eyes, that's all I was. Like
As a
they still
punk.
accepted me because I was family. But at the same time, they're like, you know, you've kind of brought shame on our family by dealing drugs, doing illegal stuff, being a drug addict, everything that goes with it. And then for me to basically be like, well, can you help me
Yeah.
become an iron worker?
Can
Because at that
can you
point, I was
help
like,
me
I don't want to go to
restore
school.
my honor? You like
Right.
right? You know what I mean?
Which is basically what I was asking them to do was, can you give me a second chance and let me redeem myself in life?
Yeah, for real.
And, you know, like my one uncle was for it. Like one of my uncles, he helped raise me, my Uncle Paul. He actually was like more of like my father figure growing up, like besides with my family and all that. And he was for it. He's like, whatever you need, I'm here for you. You know, like, cause he knew, like, you know, like he knew that this is going to be our way of helping him. Like we have to take him away from here, take him away from the community, bring him to the city, and you know maybe it'll help. My other uncle Pete at the time was more like, absolutely not. Like no, like absolutely not. And then I clearly remember him telling my Uncle Paul, like, if he's gonna be an iron worker and this is what he wants to do with his life, he's got a vehicle. He knows how to use a phone. He can go down there and he can go to the union. He can go to the hall and ask for an application. We're not helping him. If he wants to do it himself. So basically, that's where my journey started, and I had to basically nut up or shut up and go down there and get the application and fill it out and take the test and show them that I want to turn my life around. And that's basically where like real my battle started with becoming a new person, because it
So
wasn't easy. Like yeah, I had time clean under my belt, and you know I had overcome, you know, going to jail and all the addiction and you know everything that comes with that life. And ultimately was like, all right, we're here for you, but we're not here for you. That was kind of like the looking back at it. That's kind of what I got from them. It was like, you know, we can show you the door, but it's up to you, big guy, if you're gonna open that door and walk through it.
Hey, dude, nobody ever said success was served hot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Sometimes redemption is a cold dish. And what an
yeah,
incredible story for you to one. It just shows how self aware you are, right? Like to be able to realize while you're sitting in jail going through this. Because most people, what people don't realize is once you're in that, like you get back out and you run back to those people the minute you can. Typically, you try to surround yourself with that. So for you to be able to separate that and like make it count, not only for your heritage and for your lineage, but just out of respect for yourself and the value of your own life. I mean, that's incredible. And fast forward 13 years and
yeah,
look at everything you've been able to accomplish. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Off of one decision. A decision you probably had to
yeah.
make every day, right? For a while.
Oh, absolutely,
But
absolutely. I mean, once I got clean though, and I committed myself to being clean and becoming a better person, because like for me, that was like the greatest thing that ever happened to me was I was hit with like a bunch of hard decisions as a teenager,
yeah,
which it's not an easy thing to come back from. It's not an easy thing to turn around, especially like you're very impressionable at that age, and you know, teenagers really shouldn't be drinking. You shouldn't, because you're screwing up your mental and your,
yeah,
you
for
know,
real.
everything about you. You're screwing it up because you're in those growing years of, you know, you're going through puberty, you're going through high school. Everything's, you know, your body's just going through all these changes. Then you throw all these substance on top of it. I mean, I can't imagine what it did to my brain back then, you know, like let alone what it should, like what it's going to do in the future of my life, you know, like I've thought about those things, like, you know, like does my life look like when I'm 60, 70 years old? Because at a young age, I decided to, you know, put chemicals in my body of all sorts of different kind. And there was times, you know, like I would buy fake pills, fake whatever, you know, because I couldn't get the real stuff. And who knows what was in that,
Yeah.
you know. So when you're 17, 16, 18, like, you know, you're putting stuff in your into your body and into your brain and throwing the chemicals off so bad that who knows what it's going to do to me like as I get older. I mean, obviously through my time being sober, I've taken up fitness and, you know, making sure I eat good, and that's been a very big focal point of my life. Reading, trying to do things for, also not just for my body but for my mind, to just, I'm almost like trying to go backwards by still going forward, but trying to catch up and retrain, I guess, like do some retraining throughout the years.
Dude, I'm no different. Like I've lost 120 pounds in the last year and a half. Um, 2022, I was like 375. Today, I'm like I float between 260 and 270 right now. I'm gonna do another cut soon, but I I started 2023 at 327, right? And I got all the way down
Yeah.
to the lowest I've been yet is what did I get down to? 257, and this year, and the story. The reason I'm sharing this is for our audience. This context is because like there was a day that it just hit me like I can't even respect myself anymore. Like I know there's so much more life to live, kind of like what you were saying, looking down the road when I'm 60, when I'm 70, even when I'm fucking, when we're 50, dude, I'm the same age as you.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
looking at guys ahead of me, I'm like, I'm in my 30s, in my mid 30s, and I can't get my shit together. What the fuck
Yeah.
makes me think all of a sudden I'm going to wake up one day, I'm 45 and I've got it figured out? Like, no, no,
Yeah.
that starts today, brother. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta want it, you know. And thank God,
Yeah.
like in my case, I have kids, like because
Mm.
that was the real eye opener. Like, holy shit, look at this example I'm setting on them. Like, their
Yeah,
dad walks
exactly.
up the stairs and he's almost needs an oxygen
Winded.
mask. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's
You know,
disgusting as fuck, bro. Straight up, like,
you know, and not only that, it's like we live in a such a crazy time that God forbid, like, and I don't wish it on anyone's family, but like,
Sure.
God forbid someone comes into your house,
For
and you
real.
can't protect your daughter, your son, your wife, you know, like that, that's also another thing, like if you can't defend them by being just good enough shape to manhandle someone, or, at least try to fight for your life
For
or your
real.
loved ones, and if you can't, if you're, if you're overweight, or if you're not in shape enough to do that, like when the hard times come, are you going to be prepared for that? And I mean, that's why I do ice baths. That's why I'm always in the gym. Like, there's, a lot of people call me, like, that see my stuff that I post, and they're like, oh, you're crazy. Like, I get it all the time. Like, oh, especially when I do my ice bath, they're like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm preparing to be, when the hard times come, because they're going to come.
Oh, without a doubt.
I've already went through hard times before, but I know more hard times are going to come in my life. I'm young. I want to be fucking ready for those also.
Yeah, and this next time when they come, I'm gonna stare them in the face and be like,
Yeah, absolutely.
"Is that what you got? Really?"
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
and dude, forced adversity is what you're talking about. That's exactly what you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
forced adversity, like in submerging yourself in ice. And I think burpees are another form of forced adversity. I see that you do them
Yeah.
pretty much daily. I've been doing burpees.
Pretty much daily.
I've been
Yeah.
doing burpees every day since November. I mean, I've been doing burpees for a while now, but I have like this sickness to me in the gym right now where
Yeah.
I try to challenge myself. So like Dead's December, I'm doing 100 deadlifts a day, and every 10 days at 1,000 reps, I'm going up in weight. So
Right.
I just got done doing 1,000 at 135. Now I'm what, day 2? So I'm at wherever we're at on the scale now. I'm at a couple hundred at 185, and then I'll be at 225 to carry it out to the end of December, right?
Right.
So, and I did the same thing in October. But my point with this is you're absolutely right. There's something about this, like, stress test yourself almost,
Yeah.
right?
See
Like,
what you're made out of.
just to be able to run for that day that you need to flip that switch, when you have to really run
Right.
in a low gear, like when you
Right.
have to get gritty. And you're right, dude, with the way the world is, especially now, like when you guys listen to this is 2024. Like, get ready for the ride of your life. Not only is it an election year, arguably the fight for
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, arguably the
I
fight
mean,
for freedom and humanity as we know it is
yeah.
happening, unfolding right in front of your eyes. Like,
I mean,
there's never a better
there's
time.
what? There's 2, 3 wars going on overseas right now. Who knows what's going to happen with us if we're going to go?
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to be the typical guy that's, is all like talks about, like, the typical guys like Jocko or Goggins or Rogan or Dana White, but like, I mean, Dana White had just put out a post not too long ago about that. Like, what is this next generation going to do? Like, when the shit hits the fan, we're going to be fucked.
it is on us, to be clear.
Yeah.
It's our time.
It,
It's
it,
our generation's
yeah.
time to rise to leadership positions, to rise to power,
Right.
to advance. And I mean, I'll digress on this because we could do a whole other podcast on this topic alone. But like, that's
Absolutely.
why I'm in the city council now, right? Like, I don't want to be seen by people, but nobody our age is fucking doing this. Nobody our age is stepping up and filling the roles that they need to fill to get the shit done that
Yeah.
they need to get done. And nobody.
Yeah.
I listened to. Are you familiar with Andy Frisella? I listened to a lot of his
Yep.
shit. Andy's a fucking G, self-made billionaire. For those in the audience, owns
Oh,
First
yeah.
Form.
Yep.
And he says that personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. I agree
Right.
with that because there's freedom in that, one. And two, nobody is coming to save us. Nobody's going to come and do the work for us. Nobody's going to teach us how to go and get that money that we want. Nobody's going to hand us our dreams and our ambitions and our passions that are inside of us, just fucking burning away at us, driving us. Nobody's going to give that to you. It's either you go get it
Yeah.
and you teach the next guy to go get it, or it dies with us. And I
Yeah.
refuse to carry that burden,
Absolutely. I mean, I will say that's one thing I'm very fortunate and happy that, my family gave me not only, you know, a, a life in ironwork, but they gave me a work ethic. And it wasn't just handed to me. It was, I thought of my uncles as, you know, I hate to say it, but like I thought of them as fucking gods.
Right.
You know, there's these larger than life guys. They're on TV, ironworking in New York City. Fucking everyone knows them. If when they walk in the room, they're getting handshakes. Everyone knows who the hell they are. And I'm like, you know, so imagine me coming into that and like, you know, everyone's like, you got to fill those shoes.
Yeah.
And it was intimidating. It was very intimidating. And it hasn't been till recently. I'd say within the last 2 years, honestly, when I've kind of kicked myself in the ass and said, all right, it's time, you know, you're a man now.
Yeah.
You're not fucking filling their shoes anymore. You need to fill your own shoes so that you can fill those shoes for them. You know, otherwise I would just be stuck, you know, I hate to say it, but like I'd be stuck in their shoe, like the shadow of them. I was like, I need to become my own man for my own self so that I can fill those shoes.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So that's what I've been doing, like pretty much my last couple years, you know, like, I mean, and you said it too, like to me earlier, you know, it's been 13 years, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, they see my Instagram and they see everything I have and shit. And they're like, you know, I hate this, must be nice, you know, or, oh, whatever, Insta famous, all that shit.
I love it. Bring the hate, motherfucker.
I'm like, it's been 13 years. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I will say on Instagram, I am an overnight success. I will say that because I posted one thing about ironworking, you know, next thing you know, it blew up and everything else after that, I posted just millions of views, all that stuff. And I mean, to me, I don't care. I'm showing the world what we do because I feel we don't get put in the best spotlight as blue collar workers. I'm not doing it for the likes. I'm not doing it for the views. I didn't do it for that shit. You know, I did not do it for none of that. I don't get paid from Instagram. I don't get paid, you know, from nowhere. So no one is paying me to make these posts, to tag them, to collaborate. I do it just because the good heart of the blue collar brotherhood.
Yeah.
That's why I do it, just to show people what we do as a trade and the skills we bring to the table. You know, because I mean, everyone nowadays with social media is getting, you know, everyone's getting love. You mean carpenters, concrete guys, iron workers, crane, you know, you guys, everyone is getting love, which is good for us because it's showing the world.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's showing the world what we're capable of, and it's sad to say, but the next generation doesn't want to do what we do.
That scares the shit out of me too, dude.
Yeah.
Who's gonna do it? Like,
I mean,
that scares the shit out of me.
I mean, I've been out here working for a year, and so far I've ran into 2 apprentices who have that fucking dog in them, who are gonna be good journeyman ironworkers. You know, the rest of them are just like, oh, it's a paycheck, it's good money. I'm like, that's not the attitude to have. Like, you need to carry yourself a little more. You know, I'm not saying you have to walk around with your chest up high and, you know, oh, I'm the best. But at the same time, you need to look after each other and look after your brothers and sisters in the trades because we are a dying breed. I mean, most kids nowadays want to go to college. They either want to go to college or they want to be a YouTube, Instagram, you know, they want to do OnlyFans, all that shit. Like, nobody wants to wake up like we do at 5 a.m, go out in the freezing cold in the winter, go out in the blazing sun in the summer, and work our ass off for good money. Yeah. I mean, you can make a shitload of money into trades.
Yeah, if you chase the work, you absolutely can. And
if you chase the work,
and
yeah.
You said it earlier.
And if you have a good work ethic.
Well, that's another thing. Like, I hate to say that's like a secret gem, but it is now. It didn't used to. It used to be like you're not going to fucking work if you don't. But it is.
But
now.
you can build a good work habit. You can build a good work ethic.
Yes, you can.
But you have to be willing to put into work.
And you can start today. That's the cool thing about it. That's an adjustment on the fly. Like, I'm going to choose today to change my attitude. I'm going to choose today to learn something new. I'm going to choose today to get better. Dude, you said it earlier in the show. You referenced 10,000 reps, and I'm sure you've listened to that in some of the other shows that we recorded. I talk about 10,000 reps to mastery, or 10,000 hours, or whatever to mastery level. That's something I reference all the time because when I came up in the crane world, that was it. I did everything I could to get to 10,000, right? Like, because that's where you're at. And 10,000, if you broke that down, I haven't done the math off the top of it. But what it would come out to on like a 40-hour year is 6-ish years, about 6-ish years. That would get you, which is ironically where you're a journeyman, right? If you're becoming an apprentice, 5 years to journey, but really like a year after or whatnot. But so it's like let's say 5 to 7 years on 40 hours is your typical 10,000 reps. But do you have to take 5 to 7 years to get 10,000 reps, or can you aggressively chase it and do it in 3.5? You know what I'm saying? You know what like that was my mindset. I'm like, why the fuck am I waiting on 10,000 to get to me? I'm gonna go get it, right? Like, and I'm gonna swing that bat, and I'm gonna aggressively make these moves. And you know, it's funny, and you know this because of the work you do, but like everybody thinks like, oh, a crane operator, like, oh, you're just a dumb lever puller. That's the shit that people say, or they have this anticipation. And maybe the guy that sits up there and just watches Netflix all day when he's not swinging, or maybe that guy, sure, you could say that he just pulls levers or does shit like that, but not me. I'm watching the jobs. I'm watching sequences. I'm watching phases of work. I am soaking up everything I can. To be honest with you, I'm on my phone, not watching Netflix, but I'm fucking networking.
Not only that, but like, you know, I hate to say it, but crane operators don't get a lot of love for some strange reason.
We do not.
When pretty much, you know, like if you pick something and you have to swing it from point A to point B, and in between is a building with people working, you know, that's in your hands, basically. You know, if something were to happen, like most people don't understand that. It's like, if you swing something over and something happens, like that's your livelihood. Like, you know, you might lose your job. You might end up going to jail for it, first of all, especially if you kill somebody, right? You could get brought up on charges. Like, I don't think in today's world, people think crane operators as like being like a tough job. Like, it may not be physically tough, but that shit is mentally stressful, because I know a lot of crane operators, and I mean, you know, they say it to us all the time. Like, when we do something sketchy, you know, they're like, "Are you guys sure about this?" You know, and it's like, "Yeah, rip it up. We're fine." You know, and it's nerve wracking. You know, it's like, you know, it's like driving through in and out of fast traffic. You know, like you're trying to concentrate, and at any minute something could go wrong. And I mean, especially in our industry, you know, like we're lifting steel beams, we're lifting columns, we're taking trucks of steel. Anything happens, you know, it's like, you know, we're not talking minutes, we're talking seconds, and you're either going to the hospital or you're not going home to see your wife and kids. Yeah. You know, and it's like, yeah, it may look easy on our part, but could you imagine what's going on through that operator's mind during those critical picks?
I can. Absolutely. Especially, and then on top of that, add trying to keep up with like where the other 3 cranes that you could touch are. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to remember where they just said they were. Like if they're squirted out enough underneath you with their fucking juice rigs, squirted out enough stick underneath you that you got to worry about getting into him with your counterweight, or you got to try to keep tabs and all this shit, or asking like, hey, did the crawler scoot closer to me? That guy in the 2250, I can't get a hold of him on the radio. Like, where's he?
Yeah.
Where's he boomed down at? Like, yeah, dude. Like, no, for sure. But when I say that, though, that's
because like
that's the progression. Oh, we're lever pulling. Oh, you just throw fucking bolts and holes. Like, no, I manage stress like a motherfucker. That's what I do.
You know, and like since I've, you know, I guess gotten, you know, more traction on Instagram and that, like, I'll tell you one thing, I stopped reading comments because there was a lot where like, oh, you know, just the haters, and oh, this job looks easy, blah blah blah. And I'm like, first of all, it may be easy for me, but if you've never done it, how would you know it's easy? Like, I've seen so many people come out, get up on the iron.
Go unwrap that choker for me and just drag it over here.
Yeah.
How about that? Just drag it over here.
You know? Yeah, go drag a 1.125" choker over for me. You know, like in February when you're freezing your fucking balls off and your hands are frozen, you know, like, I mean, but that was one thing I did learn early on, and I took, you know, Joe Rogan, I listened on his podcast. He said that. He said posting ghost. So a lot of times when I post something, I don't see the comments unless it's somebody I know. I have it set up that like you know, like we follow each other. So when you comment, I see your comments. But for the people I don't follow, I don't see them because that should eat you. That should eat you up mentally.
Yeah. So on that note,
And
because we're an hour in, I do want to, because you're ahead of me in time. I want to respect your time too. And dude, I really appreciate this conversation. It's been rad. But I do want to, for our audience, one thing I wanted to get into is this is part of being a barbarian is being able to take what you do and kind of create a business with it in a sense. Like it's not necessarily that, like you said, you're not getting paid by Instagram or nothing, but you'd be stupid not to use your influence to get gear or try gear or to set. I'm not saying that in a rude way, but or putting your business out there.
no.
But like use your skill set or this thing that we have right here that's worth
Right.
it's a fucking computer essentially that you have in your pocket all day long to scroll and do dumb shit or text.
Yeah.
Spend a couple of minutes going, I do this, da 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 da, and then get a little bit of a creative fucking genius to you and set yourself up to be able to save, at the very least, save yourself some cost on shit, dude. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So do you mind telling the people about that? Like, what's that like? Building out your own, like...
I do, you know, I'm not saying I don't get paid, but I mean, I've gotten free stuff since I've, you know, I'm not going to lie. Like, there's been companies that reached out to me and asked me to send me a box of stuff and, you know, try it, do a post, you know, and honestly, if I don't like, I'll take it, but if I don't like it, I'll tell them straight up. Like, you know, I'll tell them how I feel about their product, you know. And I've gotten stuff from Klein Tools, who is you know, we spend a lot of money with Klein. And I never forgot that when Klein Tools DM'd me on Instagram and were like, hey, here's a catalog, a link to our catalog. Go on there, put your email, you know, your address, and basically have fun. I was like, really? Like, you're asking an iron worker who buys your stuff to go have fun in your catalog? And I went a little crazy, I ain't gonna lie.
Good though.
You know, but I mean, you know, I'm like, I've spent a lot of money on bolt bags over the years, scabbers, buying wrenches, you know, so it was nice to be, in a way, rewarded back and being seen in the light of being like, hey, we value as what you guys do, so here's kind of like a kickback to you. And you know, they sent me a bunch of free stuff and I'm very thankful for it. And there's been numerous companies that have sent me stuff and I use it, you know, like Stetson's an example. They make hard hats because on the job I'm working on, we have to wear there's the ANSI Type 2 with the chin strap. They look like rock climbing helmets.
Yeah, it's coming, guys. Get over it. Just get over it. It's here, you know.
Yeah.
God damn.
I wish I had it here, but it's on the job site. But so Stetson makes not, you know, it's not the cowboy hat Stetson. It's another company, but I believe they go as Stetson Safety Equipment on Instagram. But they make kind of a better version of those helmets, and I like to wear the full brim bridge hats. So they ended up hitting me up and were like, hey, we noticed that I had. The company had given us helmets and they're like, hey, we noticed you had these type on. We hear a lot of people don't like them. We'd like to send you a free hard hat and just see what you like about it. And, you know, they sent one out to me and I love the thing, to be honest. Like, you know, I'm like, I'd rather wear this because the inside fits more like a bike helmet and it's like more tailored. Like you can tailor it more to your comfort. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm no dummy. I've gotten DMs from companies, you know, like that are willing to send me stuff and for me to give them a review, you know, make a post about it. Like I'll do it, you know, like at the same time, you know, like I'm also kind of careful. Right.
Yeah.
And I've been careful on who I allow, because there's been companies that are just like, you go on their page and they got like 2 or 3 posts and I'm like, well, I don't know if you're legit.
Yeah.
You know, like, so you kind of have to filter through who you do business with.
Yeah.
and who you want to associate your name with.
But what would you
Because I
say
mean,
to
a
the
lot of guys.
guys out there that are missing on that opportunity, though? Like, I really want people to understand. Now, I'm not saying go out there and put off work to. Sorry, somebody's calling. I'm not saying go out there and put off work to jump on the internet really quick at Instagram and be like, "Oh, look at this." That's not. But I'm saying that there is literally, let's just call it money for time's sake. There's opportunities,
Yeah,
cash, literally just
yeah,
sprinkled all around you
kind of floating.
all day. If
It's kind of floating out there if you know how to catch it.
yeah, so
Yeah, you know. And I mean, like you said, everyone has a smartphone nowadays. Everyone has some sort of smartphone. And I'm not telling guys to, not be working. I mean, because a lot of the posts I do, yeah, I'm at work.
yes,
I'm working. I get that.
yeah,
Well, and I'm in a raising gang. So this may not work for a lot of other guys. It works. It's been working for me in with social media is so when we send off our tree of iron after we tree everything, I'm working throughout that process. Once my job's done and it's getting sent to the connectors, and I make sure that all my next pieces are ready beforehand, so I have a little bit of downtime because all my steel's ready. We've pre-wrapped. We send 5 pieces up in a tree. Make sure I wrap the next 5 or the next 10 so they're ready. During that time, it's like, okay, it's not like I'm just standing there with my thumb up my ass. I actually have prepared myself ahead of time because my work's done now and I have maybe 4 or 5 minutes of downtime. I just whip out my phone, I'll take videos, I'll take pictures. No one says anything to me because it's not affecting the work. I'm getting my work done and still getting my personal work done in a way.
yeah.
Like,
To be honest with you,
with,
instead
yeah.
of doing this and just
Mhm.
reading a text or looking at the little red notification button, you're going
Yeah.
make money, 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 money.
Yeah.
You're just
Because, like,
exchanging your time.
right. Yeah. And a lot of, and like, I get it. People are like, you shouldn't be on your phone at work and all that. I'm like, I'm getting my work done before I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not on my phone all day at work. Like people it may come off that like when you see my Instagram and you see like my social.
Yeah, but that's
That
bullshit anyway,
you know
dude. Half those guys are standing in
it,
front of
and it is
Lamborghinis and rented it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And it's like I've gotten my work done, made sure everybody has what they need. If the guys need bolts or if my partner needs a hand, whatever it is, I make sure that's done before I pull my phone out and take a video
yeah.
or take 10 pictures because nowadays, with a smartphone, you can just hit it a bunch of times and take a bunch of pictures. Like a lot of times, a majority of my stuff, it's just, I'm not even looking at it. I'm just pointing and doing it while I'm like, hey, like talking to somebody because I'm going to edit it later. And I'm just going to take the voices out with music or,
Yeah.
put voiceover or whatever. So I'm like, or I'll just put my phone down. Like I have reels of my phone just sitting there with us picking iron.
Yeah.
It's like that's not hurting anybody because the phone's just there recording. I'm working, you know. So I've kind of gotten into that mentality of like, you really don't have to give a shit what other people say. That's what it comes down to.
But you
It's like
got
if you're getting your work done, who gives a shit? Like, as long as the work's getting done and the company's making money and everyone's happy, who gives a shit
yeah.
at the end of the day?
And quite frankly, all those guys that are hating on you are going to be the first guys to come and ask you, like, dude, can I get a pair of those heat waves that they sent you? Like, can you hook me up
Yeah.
with? Dude, you think you can
Yeah.
get me a Klein bag or a Scabber? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's funny. When you start getting
Yeah.
shit, then nobody says anything. But
Mm.
for the people that are listening
Well,
to
and
this, you just got to go. You just got to, there's opportunity
gotta do it.
everywhere. Do it. Record what you're doing. Think about this. There's people
Yeah.
on YouTube making millions of dollars to set up a camera and take videos of them working, like plumbing and doing
Right.
different shit. And then they put it on YouTube. Somebody else learns from it. It hits. It gets This is no different.
Well, I think the big thing, and I've kind of seen it through other guys who've tried to, you know, go and try to do social with construction, and it's the criticism that comes from our own brothers.
Oh my
That's
god.
that's been the main thing that I've noticed about since I've kind of gotten big on social, is that most of the hating that I get is from, it may not be guys I work with, because the guys I work with are like, they're all studs. They're great guys.
Yeah.
I tagged them, I post, like I put them in there so they can get traction. I'm trying to promote them as well. And, at the same time, like everyone I've gotten negative about, it's someone in the trades.
I'm here to
It's
tell
someone
you.
in the trades.
Oh, it's all the time. But I'm here to tell you,
Yeah.
if I had you on the ground, like I just appreciate cool shit. So like as a crane guy, especially, my hands are always full, right?
Yeah.
Like all that shit that I get to see and like how sick it is. I love when somebody will take a video and like send it to me, and
Yeah.
like I get to see me
And
doing what
and what's the harm in taking a video just to show people? Like, there's no harm in that.
Well,
Like that's
one of the things that's
so many
missing is the
people
pride.
like it.
Remember when you used to be
Right.
proud of what you did every day, or
Yeah.
have pride and like, yeah, I'm a fucking iron worker, or yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
tower crane operator. So what? Like, dude, there's something
Like-
to be said
like the
about
iron-
hanging out a bunch of iron with the same raisin gang, and at the end,
Right.
when you know what I take as a sign of respect, and this isn't like kissing your guys' ass or nothing. I work with a lot of different trades, but a sign of respect, a sign off to me is when the raisin gang guys are all like, that guy's the shit, that operator, which you know how it is, dude. You guys get a guy and he's good, and that's your guy. Like, you will take care of that guy. Like, that's like, for me, there's nothing like when I'm walking up to the job site, if it happens to be one of the days that you guys are on site before I'm up the crane, like, and like, hey, good morning, brother, blah, 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 blah. Like, and all the guys that, like, the iron worker guys are the ones that are excited to see you. Like, all the guys that are out there really busting ass. Like, all the ones that traditionally everybody's afraid of, like, working with them because they run people off, or maybe less people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But not me.
And like, and that's like and that's the thing with me. And like, I can only speak for myself.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, that's.
I treat everybody equal. I treat everybody with the best respect, everything. That's how I was raised.
Except
I don't give
for
a
the
shit
roofers.
if you're. I've done roofing before, so.
I just.
But I mean, at the end of the day, in the trades, we all, we shit on each other.
Yeah.
Friendly shit on each
We're
other.
supposed to.
But at the same time, anybody who has the balls to go out, fucking, whether it's be a plumber, electrician, a laborer, crane, iron worker, rebar, whatever your cup of tea is in the trades, for me, everyone has my respect, because, I mean, it takes balls to do all those jobs.
Yeah.
They're not easy jobs,
And we need more people. Flat out.
We do need more people.
We're gonna lose this shit. Like, legitimately, we're gonna lose it.
We may shit on you as being a plumber or laborer or whatever, but at the same time, we love you, and we need you. Like, we need all those guys. We need all those girls. We need everybody, from the porta potty people to right up to you guys. Setting iron with us and swinging shit over our heads. We need everybody.
Yeah, you're right, dude. Everybody does play a role, and it's easy to pick at it. It's just easy to pick at it, but at the end of the day, I'm the same way as you. I respect people for the work that they do. Period. The end.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a lazy sack of shit, though, I will tell you, from being in the sky, and I'm sure when you connect, you can see it too. It is really easy to see who's got that get it done and who is a lazy sack of shit. Like, and it stands out fast. Like, fast.
Yeah.
Just looking down and
watching. And that goes across more than just the trades. I mean, you used to be a Marine. I mean, I'm sure you had your go-getters in there, you had your in-between, and you had your knuckle draggers that were just holding your platoon, holding your squad back,
Yeah. And I bet you I've been
and
every character in that story, to be honest with you.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's just, same with me,
Yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah.
only way to get better is by staying with it every day and telling yourself, I'm going to learn, I'm going to get better, and that's the thing with the trades. Like they tell you when you get thick skin,
Yeah.
because you're going to get yelled at, you're going to get screamed, you're going to get, you're going to get everything in between. You're going to get teased, you're going to get made fun of, and most people think of that as bullying, but like usually the guys who have thick skin, they thrive in that, and it just builds them, because it's like, you're talking shit to me, you're telling me I suck. Well, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to get better. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be in a month, but someday I'm going to be that guy that you're like,
100%.
holy shit, he's a fucking good hand.
And when you show up that day, dues paid, motherfucker. It's respect. Period. The end. Like,
Yeah, it's respect, and
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have to put in those reps, you have to put in the time, you have to put in the work. And that's with anything, whether it's becoming the best crane operator,
Yeah.
iron worker, whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, you have to put that work in, you have to put those reps in to get you there. No one else is going to do it. I'm not going to do it for you, you're not going to do it for me.
No.
So,
But what I am going to do is respect you for doing it. 100%. And I'm
right,
see,
and right back to you, brother.
And I'm going to see it, and I'm going to be like, dude, that's a real motherfucker right there.
Yeah.
Well, Drew, because I know it's getting late, let's get to questions here. Dude, I love your mindset. So
Yeah, brother.
I'm excited to ask you these questions for our audience, man. I'm going to ask you the staple question of the show. You already know what's coming, because, I mean, this is the question. Is what is a blue-collar barbarian to you?
A blue-collar barbarian to me, someone who can wake up every fucking day, put their boots on, go out, bust their ass, make sure their brothers and sisters go home at the end of the day, and fucking do that day in and day out, and just provide for their family.
And not
and know that when they look in the mirror, not ask for nothing, but know when they look in the mirror, they're fucking proud of the work they're doing.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. I'll take all day long. I couldn't agree more. That, like I said, the only thing I'd say is they're the guys. They don't need the pat on the back. They don't need the recognition. Yeah. It's kind of like the things that you were describing when you're talking about it. Yeah. For you, you're like, I just want to make my heritage and my lineage proud. I want to redeem myself for my past mistake. I want to find who the fuck I am and build this life I want. So, yeah, dude, coming from you, that's a powerful statement. Moving right along on the next question, what advice would you give someone that's like a younger person, or maybe even not a younger person, but just somebody getting started as an iron worker?
I would say the job is very physical. It's very hard. The best advice I would give anybody is don't be afraid to, well, probably going to give a little bit more than just one, but don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Like, if you don't know something, just ask. Someone may give you a hard time over it, but at the end of the day, they're probably going to teach you the right way to do it. Yeah. And the second thing, just stick with it. Yeah. It's a fucking hard job, but it can be a very rewarding job. Once you've earned your stripes and you've learned the trade and learned how to do it, it's a very rewarding brotherhood and sisterhood. I mean, I've worked with some of the greatest people in the US and in Canada. Like, I've worked with people from both sides of the border, and sure, times can be tough with people. You meet all different types of characters, but at the end of the day, they all want to see you carry on the legacy of being a union iron worker.
Hell yeah.
Whether you're from the East Coast, the West Coast, North, South, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Okay. How can you make yourself more marketable as an iron worker? And when I say that, I'll give you a better context, right? So, like, how can you make yourself to where you're more of that sought after hand? Like, you're that guy that, like, when you come on a job, you're running a raising gang. Like, how do you become the guy that you handpick, or that you're calling, hey, you ready to go back to work? Like, how, you know what I mean?
It's an easy but tricky question, that, especially in our trade, because what I've come to really realize is your last name is all you have. Basically, your name is what you have. And what you decide to build that name into is going to dictate you moving forward in life, in not only in ironwork, but in everything in life. Because when people hear your name, the first thing they're going to do is associate you with what they've heard about you. So the best thing I could say is show up every day, fucking work as much overtime as they throw at you. I know a lot of people say you don't want to commit to the company, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But at the same time, the harder you work, people around are gonna know that this guy shows up every day. He doesn't take time off, and he busts his ass every day. I mean, we have our days, you know. We're not all robots and superheroes, but ultimately, just show up, put your head down, grind it out every day, build a good name. You'll be taken care of for a long time in this business.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that's solid advice. And I would say like, and this is just, I'm not an iron worker, but from the perspective also is, um, run. When you're young at this, when you're trying to build your name,
Yeah,
if they send you to go get more bolts, if they send you to go get a can of fucking
just
WD-40, if they send you to get a gas
do
can,
it.
run. Don't walk, run.
Yeah,
Don't go to the bathroom and take 10 minutes to get your fucking belt back on and then check all your fucking text messages and then meander your
yeah.
way back. Like, go, go,
Get
go,
it done.
go.
Yeah,
And like, run.
yeah,
Like, be a
yeah,
gopher. I mean,
yeah,
but be the best goddamn gopher there is on the job site. And don't
yeah,
shy away from cleanup. I can't tell you how
yeah.
much I
Don't be shy.
see
Yeah,
that shit where there's the fucking crew lead or the foreman is rolling up fucking taglines and stuff. If you're the fucking apprentice or you're a young guy or any guy, right? Get that fucking
yeah,
tagline or those cables out of his hand instead of sitting there watching him do it and take over that shit. Take that and
yeah.
run. Like, those little things will separate you exponentially down the road
Oh
from
yeah,
everybody around you. You know what I mean?
yeah. If you if you just do what you have to do and you got a fucking good sense of humor and you take everything as with a grain of salt, you're gonna go far in anything,
Yeah,
anything you do. You know, there's a
100.
lot of people give ironworkers shit about being tough on our apprentices, but there's a reason for it. It's because our job is not only stressful and physical, it's dangerous. Yeah, we tie off, we have harnesses, but one wrong move and you're you're either eating through a straw, you're going to be laid up in a hospital, or your family ain't seeing you.
For real. Or you're missing digits.
You know, or yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean that happens all the time. So,
Yeah, yeah. I
um,
know guys. I know guys who are missing eyes. I know guys who are missing fingers, legs, arms.
uh,
Like and it's just a millisecond and something happens. Like you have to be on. You have to be tuned on when it comes to ironwork. Now, that's not what all aspects of ironwork, because there's
sure.
different parts of it, but majority of the time you need to be in tune on what the hell is going on, because shit happens in a second. And I mean, we're basically you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, and it's seconds. It's not minutes. It's not like whoops, I wasn't paying attention. Like,
Yeah, you
or
know.
I was checked out for half a second thinking about birds or something, staring, and
Yeah,
I missed putting my hand up to catch the iron, and it fucking hit me. Like,
yeah.
it's the silliest shit. Last question I have for you is, what advice, what leadership advice? And this is speaking from a position where you're like the crew lead, you're the foreman, you're the raising gang boss, whatever you want to call it, right? What leadership advice do you have for men and women in the trades today? Our brothers, our sisters out there. This isn't specific to just ironworking, but like from a leadership standpoint, what advice would be your best piece of advice to give people in our community?
Have an open mind. Have an open mind to things, and kind of just hear what others have to say. Because I mean, there's a thousand ways to skin a cat, and you know, I would just say to be a good leader, you wanna show through example as well. You know, I mean, I've worked with some really good foremen. actually one of the foremans that we have right now is one of the most fucking solid dude, and he's a young guy. He's younger than me. One of the fucking best hands I've ever worked with. I mean, he gets in there, gets his hands dirty with us. He's a true leader because he puts his name where his mouth is. Like he's a stud in my eyes, and I love working with him. I love working beside him because you get we get foremen sometimes and don't have an ego. Like, you should not have an ego. Like, we're all here, we're all journeymen. Let's just get a good group of guys together who all get along, jive good. I mean, you guys can make a shitload of money together. It's all it takes is one bad apple to to kind of mess that up for a lot of guys. But I would say the best thing would have an open mind with the people you work with and the people you surround yourself with, and don't be afraid to say no to certain things, especially if it's going to put you in harm.
Yeah.
Don't do something if you are not going to. If someone says something that they'll do it, if you don't want to do it, say no.
Yeah.
You're not going to get fired over it. You might, but I mean, at the same time, what if that did go wrong? And now that guy's not going home, and you decided that because, swallow your pride. Sometimes you have to swallow your pride, or it could lead to you not going home.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's why I always say kind of have an open mind with everything and all your surroundings and everybody around you, because, somebody might see something at a different level than you, and it might just be better, or they might say, I don't think that's going to work. Let's do it this way.
Yeah.
Communication, teamwork, the best thing you could do.
Yeah. No, dude, incredible advice, and thank you. Well, dude, I've had you for an hour and a half. It's getting late. We're on our closing thoughts now. Do you have any book suggestions that you want to leave with our guys, or any quotes you want to share with the audience? I think it's just as important to fuel people mentally. You've actually given a ton of golden nuggets in your advice. This has been an incredible show. But do you have anything you want to leave people with?
So I've become kind of a reader in the past couple of years, and I don't want it to sound too the most typical, but the book that really changed my life was from Jocko, and it was Extreme Ownership. I mean, I suggest anybody, I mean, who just, whether you're an addict, whether you work, whatever, 9 to 5, blue collar, whatever it is. If you really want to transform your life, I'd say that's probably one of the best books to pick up. Another book that I've read is actually, it's called The Wolf, and wait, I got it right here. It's Staring Down the Wolf, and that's from he's another Navy SEAL guy. He's an older guy, and he wrote a book. He was in Vietnam, and it's basically staring down the wolf is what you want is that wolf.
Yeah.
Like, everything you want in life is that wolf. You need to learn how to deal with that wolf and stare at it long enough to, like, basically put yourself in his eyes.
Yeah.
Those are two good books, because they're both good books about dealing with not only self-discipline but self-doubt, which is a big thing in a lot of our lives. A lot of us are doubtful of ourselves, and it takes time to really build up a confidence, build up the callus of a confidence to be like, no, I am worth this, and I'm worth what I want in life, and I don't give a shit who you are.
Yeah.
You're not going to step in front of me, and stop me from attaining my goals, whether it's family, friends. I've had to give up a lot of people in my life to put me in a position to where I am today. Like, I've had to walk away from people to become sober for this long, to be able to, have the life I've built for myself. Like you said, it's been 13 years, and everyone sees the shit I have now, the nice house, I have an apartment, I've invested my money, stuff like that. But at the same time, everyone's like, oh, it must be nice. I'm like, it's been 13 years of me grinding my ass off, reading the right books, learning how to properly invest my money, to put myself in this position, you know, like, so, but I would say start with extreme ownership. If no one's ever read it yet, if you're a reader, or you can get the audio book of it, it basically, that book changed my life, and it put me more on what I want in life.
Yep.
I'm going to have to go out and get it. I'm going to actually have to do the work, bust my ass, make sacrifices, you know, to get me to what I want in life.
Yeah. No,
And
dude.
that's all it is. It's hard ass work. And, you know, the life you want is waiting in front of you, but you have to be willing to put into work. You ain't willing to fucking pick up a shovel and start digging. You ain't going to get nothing in life.
No, you're not wrong. No. That's
Yeah.
incredible. And I'll have to check out that Staring Down the Wolf. I've read Extreme Ownership and the
Yeah.
Dichotomy of Leadership. I've read both of those. I recently, too, the last 2 years, are you familiar with 75 Hard?
Yep.
I've completed 75 Hard twice. And so that has
Nice.
propelled me now to like where I read pretty much throughout the year. I read something every day now,
Yeah.
right? And I think I've read,
You're right.
I just finished like book number 25 or 26 on the year, which is, dude, I didn't read 26 books through life growing up, right? So
Yeah, me neither.
so to do it a year, I'm like, holy shit, you know?
Yeah.
But no, that's a great suggestion of book for you.
But that goes back to doing the shit you don't want to do and forcing yourself to do it.
That's it. I don't like reading, but I do it.
I don't like reading either.
Yeah.
But I force myself to read, and I don't have the best vocabulary. I don't have the best reading. I read at my pace.
You know, I heard this. You'll appreciate this quote. I heard this from. I can't remember who it's from. I keep referencing First Form, but it's not because of that. It's just a lot of those guys' mindset aligns with mine. But
yeah,
somebody from there,
they're winners.
Yeah, that's it. You know, but somebody from there said something the other day. It wasn't the other day. I heard this last year, but it was, "I'm not a runner, so I run." Like,
yeah,
and it was the whole concept was like telling yourself, like, you could tell yourself you're not this, but you're running. So when do you become a runner? How long are you not going to be a runner? How long are you not going to be a savage? How long are you not going to be a leader? Oh, I'm not a leader.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm broke. I'm not worth this. I'm not. Well, when are you going to be? So if you're not a runner, start running. If you're not a reader, start reading. You know what I mean? If you're not a leader, start leading. Like, I know that rhymes, but like for real, like it's like choose today to start for tomorrow. Like literally.
Yeah.
And then take every step.
Yeah. They can be, they don't have to be big steps, little steps.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to crawl before you can walk. You got to walk before you can run.
Yeah. 100%. Dude.
I mean, it's that easy. I mean, a lot of people that I've seen in life, and I'm not a millionaire. I'm not like, a lot of these wealthy, motivational people. But in my mind, that's what I want in life.
Yeah. So you will be.
And so I will be.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, I don't give two shits what you think of me. Because you're not going to put food on my table, pay my bills. Like, this is all on me.
Yeah.
Like, this is all on me. Like, I don't have people to go to be like, oh, like, I don't have a wealthy family. We're blue collar.
Yeah.
So I want to make the best. Like, my grandfather had a good name. My uncles have a good name. So now in my life, I want to put myself at the pinnacle of our name.
Yeah.
And I think that's just that, motivational. I mean, not the motivational. That's that competitive drive in me to be like, okay, I'm like, in my eyes, I'm like, my uncles may have put our fucking family name, on national TV, whatever. I'm like, I want to take our name fucking globally and say this family is fucking breeding fucking savages and breeding winners, because in my eyes, they're winners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, if you set the bar here for me, my uncles, I'm like, I need to take that motherfucker up here. I'm like, I ain't just going to do good. I want to bring it up here. I want to show that not only did I follow your steps, but I did it to the best I could, but also brought it up and brought our family up to where everyone fucking knows us. Not just, you know, a couple documentaries that were shown on Discovery Channel when they were building the trade centers and with the, you know, all the ironworker documentaries that have been done, and my uncles have been a part of it over the years, you know, like they were just in the right place at the right time, but they are fucking savages. Like those fucking are some of the hardest working men I've ever, you know, had the chance to be a part of that bloodline. And I'm happy to be a part of it, and it drives me to be even better than what they were.
Fuck yeah. And that's how it should be. You should
Yeah.
want to be better. I don't want to be equal.
Yeah.
I'm here to be the fucking best.
Yeah.
Period. The end. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's like I looked up to them as heroes. I want them to look up at me and be like, he did it. He did it. Like he's making us proud.
Fuck yeah.
And I've yet to hear that from them. Like, you know, I may never hear that, but I keep every day trying to do that so that one day, you know, it might happen on their deathbed. It might happen whenever, but that's like what I'm working to is them to be like you're doing us proud. You're doing our family proud. That's in my eyes. That would be better than being a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever it is. Like to me, that's my pinnacle of what I want in my life. I may never get it, but at the same time, I'm not going to stop working, whether I get that or not.
I bet you see that day. I bet you I bet you that feeling's probably already there, just not shared. I mean, your mindset's incredible. And like you said about trying to be the best, it's like me. You see this little blue guy right here. Like I'm taking this and I want to see it on a building. And I want that building to produce that character in people's soul that walk out of that fucking building and into the workforce and into their communities to lead and to like that's what this is about. This isn't about like getting a free shit or trying to make some money or trying to be the next Joe Rogan. Like with all due respect to Joe Rogan, he's built. I want to be bigger, and I want to be bigger because I want to impact bigger. I want to do more. I want to.
And that's the thing. Like, and that's the thing with Joe. He would want you to be bigger.
100%.
You know. Yeah. Everybody he tells to start a podcast, he wants them to be bigger than him.
Yeah.
You know, I want you to be big. I want you to do good. You know, because you've given me the opportunity to come on your podcast and given me an opportunity to share some of my story. You know, like I'm rooting for you. Yeah. You know, I'm rooting for you to win. I want everybody in the trades to win. Like
for real,
because we bust our ass every day. You know, we bust our ass every day. And we deserve to eat at the big table too.
And if you can get out, then that's going to show all of the people around us that there's a way out of the matrix, that there's hope.
Yeah. Right.
And that's going to inspire.
And there's going to be haters.
Fuck them.
And there's going to be haters. There's going to be fucking guys that are going to want to tear you down. There's going to be one of guys that tear me down, tear everybody down. Those are the people you don't fucking want at your table anyways.
Well, see you later. Yeah, go over there.
Yeah.
Go over there. Go.
Yeah.
Go do it better than me. That'd be great. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Go do what I do. Go do what I do. If you can do it, then you shouldn't be talking shit because the people who are talking shit to you can't do what you do.
That's it.
Don't have the balls to do what you do.
And they're not people trying what you're trying. All the people
and they're not trying.
And quite frankly, Andy and all those guys talk about this too. I think even Tim Grover talks about this. Like that, the guys talking about you aren't the guys ahead of you because the people winning.
No.
Because the people winning are rooting for you. They're not talking about you.
Yeah.
They're rooting for you.
They want you to succeed. They want you to be. They want you to do good.
Yes. So anybody making noise,
who you need to
trash.
And that's in life who you need to surround yourself with. Are the people who are going to be there for you on bad days and good fucking days. When you feel like saying fuck, I'm on episode 50. I'm only getting 20 views. Yeah. That's when you need those people to be like, bro, stay the fuck with it. Yeah. You promised yourself you're going to do this. Stay with it. You know, I'm not saying, you know, I know you do good, but at the same time, you also need those people when you're going to have those slumps.
100%.
Bro, fucking stay with it. Stay fucking with it because that's what it takes.
Yeah. And if you could take that same mentality in your career every day and you can be that guy on the job site for the guys around you, I know it sucks today. I know it fucking sucks, brother, but Stay with me. Stay with me. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. You're that
Yeah.
charisma. You're that energy. Guess what? That superintendent that you think's not watching from his job box, oh, he's watching.
Oh, he's watching.
Oh, he's watching. Just because he doesn't say shit to you doesn't mean he's not watching. He knows his winners from his losers, dude. And if you become that ravaged dog out there that's just all eat, like all eat, ready to eat all the time, guess who's going to get the 5 over scale? You know what I mean? Guess who's going to get that?
Who's going to get the overtime?
Yeah.
Who's going to get that weekend work?
Yeah.
You know, he's going to ask the guys who are fucking there, even on rain days.
Yep.
Like, I know that's a big stigma with iron workers. We don't work in the rain, but
sort of true. It just depends on what's going on.
I've worked in the rain before, but it sucks. But at the same time, I mean, sucked it up and dealt with it.
Yeah, that's all you can do, dude.
That's all you can do, you know? I mean, fuck, who cares if you're wet? You're going to go home. The faster you get it done, the faster you're going to go home. Because most of the time, if you're stuck in the rain, you're not going to stay there all day. They're going to be like, hey, get it and go.
Fuck yeah.
So fucking just put your head down, suck it up, get wet, and get it done. And the faster you get it done, the faster you go home.
That's it. Well, Drew, we said we were closing the show 10 minutes ago. We got to stop yapping for these people. So, anyway, Drew, I appreciate your time. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And you can reach Drew, reach out to him with any questions you may have. Reach out to me. I can put you in contact with him. And we hope you guys all continue to win.